Hello, welcome to this brief presentation about the new support plan file that is being introduced into each person's home. I want to tell you basically what's in it and talk you through it. And the first page I'd like to show you is this contents page. It tells you what's in the folder and it's in sections, and you'll see that from the small tabs on the side as they run down. And each section is information that's either for yourself as the person using the service. So for example, all of that section is for a person using the service. All of this section is about you and different pieces of information. This section is about your health and so on and so forth. And some parts the staff will need to complete with you, and some parts are for you to read and to understand what your rights are, what we offer you, and what it means to be living in a supported living home. The second document here is simply entitled Consent to Care and Treatment. Massively important, and we've put it at the front of the file because it is so important. Basically, it takes us through a number of questions. For example, do we call your GP to visit? Can we call for an ambulance? Can we obtain prescriptions on your behalf? And this section is where we would ask you to sign or to make a mark if you don't find it easy to sign your name, so that can be your signature. And here we get the staff member to also witness the fact that they are happy or confident that you have made your signature and that is your wish. And if we need to use an independent advocate, we'll do that to make sure that your wishes are fully represented. This section is also very important. A lot of our new care planning, and especially I'm going to tell you a little bit about this app called Log My Care in another video, but it also relies on videos. It also may mention social media. It may have electronic and written records about you, and we would like your consent to use those. So this is where we say your signature or the mark that you use to make it known that you're happy with what's being said. And the witness there would be a support worker or somebody that you choose to witness there that you have been consulted, and to the best of our unreasonable knowledge, you consent to what we're doing with regards to your information and your data. The next section is at the moment a series of blank grids. And there are 16 of them, and what these will tell you is that your staff team have read the various either sections, some of these called read and sign sheets about policies, and we want to make sure that you are confident to know that your staff are trained and understand what's in this folder and have worked through things with you that they need to work through with you. And when those things are done, you'll see that all of these read and sign sheets have been completed. The next section is very much your section for information. There are a number of leaflets and pieces of information here. They give you information, for example, on, like this does, what you could expect from a good home care agency such as we are establishing. What you can expect from us. It'll tell you how to complain. It'll tell you what your rights are regarding electronic information. Your right to have an advocate present to help you get the best information to express yourself most fully. And it'll tell you what your rights are for accessible information, which simply means if you want things in a more pictorial format like that, or the text to be bigger, then you can tell us and we need to address those issues for you so you can fully understand what's in your folder. And there's a whole section here of about 5 or 6 different pieces of information that are for you to read. And if you struggle reading them for yourself, then we will again gladly work them through with your support workers, read them to you, explain them to you, and talk about them with you. So this section now is your information section. It starts with what's called a personal profile. It has a photograph when we do it here, and then it asks an overview about you and an overview of your health needs, what I can tell you through the way I do things, and some of the things I dislike, what my hobbies are. And basically, if we had a new staff member join our team and somebody who didn't know you, they could look at this and very quickly they'd get an overview of who you were. Really key things. That then is followed, and I'll spin this round so you can see more fully, by a number of risk assessments. So essentially, we look at you, your home, we look at things that you can do and things that you may have more challenges with, and we look at the way that we can keep you most safe, and we put them onto risk assessments. And then when we've done that, we also supply a support plan that says, okay, we've noticed that maybe you might find it difficult walkings and you might trip easily. So the support plan is, what are we going to do to make sure that we support you most fully to do what you need to do safely and give you the most independent living that you can have in your home, so that you feel in charge, but you also feel supported. And there are a number of risk assessments which the staff will again review with you, and which we will talk with you about, because we make sure these documents fully represent how you see it as well. This section is all about your health, and it starts with a document called My Hospital Passport. Now, you'll see here that we've done it. We decided we'd have something that was quite graphical and easy for everybody to use. And what this does is, if you ever needed to go to hospital, for example, this document goes with you. We complete it with you, and it says things here like your allergies, it might be if you've had any heart or breathing problems, risk of choking, and then obvious information like your name, what your religion and ethnicity is, and so on. That document then we complete and we would keep with you if you needed to go into hospital. Now, the other thing is that our staff will always, and we train our staff, to complete a medical administration sheet. And this is a copy of one that we would have, and if you needed to have a spare one in an emergency, for example, if the one from your pharmacy was full, then we have a couple of spare logs, but these are just really as backup sheets. But that's what they look like, and what you would expect from your staff is that they will sign this, and that they'll say how many of any particular medicine they've given to you is left at the end of the administration. So if they give it to you or administer it to you, then they need to sign this sheet, and they need to say what the new total is. The logs then are signed by the registered manager, and they're checked by us to make sure that everything has been given accurately. Similarly, there is also a form for returned medication, because that's important if anything ends up falling on the floor and it needs to be returned. And also any medication that you have as and when. Again, we make sure that we've covered that with a separate form, because it's not part of the administration form I just showed you a moment ago. It's an extra as required medication. So you'll see the staff will be working through these with you to show you if there's any other types of medications or creams that maybe you've had additionally to what you have normally, maybe in a blister pack. Then there's some record sheets. This is a record sheet that if for example you lost some weight and your doctor or dietitian wanted us just to keep a check on that, we'd work with you to keep a weight record. Similarly, if maybe you'd not been well and we needed to keep a check on your fluid and food intake, then we fill this form in. Now, the point of keeping these records, again, is to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to keep your health at its best and to keep you fully supported. And finally on here, we have a professional visits register, which simply means that when you've had a doctor or a physiotherapist or an occupational therapist or somebody who comes in, it's logged there, and we say where the details would be. So we may have said on the app, we've made a note of that meeting, you knew about it, you were part of it, a podiatrist came, whoever it might be, all of it's logged here so that you and your support staff know exactly and can keep up to track with where your health and health appointments are. And We're always keen to know your opinions, so we'll be sending you these, but we've put a spare one in here. So if you ever decide that you want to talk to our staff about how you feel about our service, you can see it's done in a range of faces because not everybody finds it easy to write their views in. That's a user questionnaire form. So basically, if we're supplying a service to you, we can have a spare one of these, and we have other copies of these that you can ask at any time that will give you an idea of some of the questions about our service. We will use these statements and your feedback to improve our service. And finally, where we help you to manage your money, there's a record of financial transactions, and again we would make sure that we keep an accurate record on these sheets of all the money in and out to make sure that we are proving we're accounting for your money reliably and responsibly. Getting towards the end, there's what they call a grab file. Now the grab file is a lot of medical information, and again we'd like to go through this. There's medical information, there's house information, there's emergency contact information, and we'll go through this with you and complete it with you. But it's called a grab file because in an emergency we need to make sure that we know who to contact, where to go, and what our emergency procedures are. And you'll find as well in here that we've also put fire risk assessment. We hope we'll never have to use it, but we want to make sure that we've done that to give you full protection, to understand all the risks in your home and how we would make sure we responded in an emergency. Now the last part of our folder is simply a pull-out folder, and in there are some spare body maps in case, for example, you maybe fell over. We need to mark it on a body map. There's some spare incident forms which we need to complete if you have an accident, and there's some spare daily log sheets. Now we log our information on this new app called Log My Care, but if the app ever went down, we have some spare folders. So this just gives you an overview of what's in your folder. Thank you for listening.